Hello, welcome to our mukbang. I'm Josh,
I'm Kevin.
and yeah, so we've never done this before. We don't know exactly how this works, but we'll try our best. And
Let's just eating some food.
I guess we can get started eating. Yeah. What do we have today?
We actually have the lemon. I think it's the hot lemon flavor that I've actually never seen before, and then the garlic parm, and then honey barbecue on the right there.
We've been told that. What was this supposed to be?
This is supposed to be regular lemon pepper, but it's like a flavor that I've never seen actually on the menu. So we'll see how it goes. But
Dude, they give a surprise to us. They said, "You want a third flavor? We'll just add in whatever." Okay, so I guess I'll
I'm gonna try this.
I'll stab this in.
Should we get knives? Probably get knives.
Yeah, get knives. Yeah. Okay, back with knives. Knives.
We're gonna
And,
eat like proper human beings now.
We're no food experts. We're not food experts, so
I've gone to my share of places.
at least I know. Maybe Kevin's a food expert. I'm not a food expert. When I go to McDonald's, they taste the same as like.
So I think I know what they did. They literally took the regular lemon pepper and added like buffalo sauce,
A little spiciness.
or like hot sauce on top. It tastes exactly the same.
Tastes
As a
like-
normal lemon pepper, yeah. It's not bad.
I taste the sour. I taste the sourness for sure.
I definitely like, my two favorite flavors are honey barbecue and lemon pepper, I think. But hot one's not bad. I'm not good with spice.
Oh, and by the way, we go to Penn State. In case you guys didn't know. And do they have a Buffalo Wild Wings around here?
They have like champs and stuff, which are like sports grills. But I think like after you're really hungry at like 2 a.m. There's so few things that are open that your options are already limited.
Food is food.
And you just kind of have to go from there. But
Because I went to do you ever watch the documentary like Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
oh, my friend really likes that. I've seen parts of it, but
like I used to see that they were like, oh, the tuna's so fatty, tuna is so good, it'll change your life, and I was like, that stuff like I want to try it one day and have it literally blow my mind. Right? But then one day I went to a Michelin-starred Chinese restaurant in New York, and it was like my mom's cooking. And I was like, maybe we've reached not the peak, but like it doesn't get that much better from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, I know there's a few. I went to Hong Kong recently, and there's a few like easy to get to Michelin star restaurants there. A lot of them are like dim sum based and everything, but the lines are like out the wazoo just because they have like Michelin star.
I'm gonna try this one now. So
This one is definitely not as spicy. That's the most tame out of the three. The honey barbecue is pretty sweet too. But.
Alright. So Kevin's a senior and I'm a freshman. So Kevin's already.
Yeah, it's my last couple days here.
We're currently at the end of April. This is finals week, so we're kind of like we're not studying.
I just had my last final this morning, so
at least I'm not studying. I still have finals on Friday, but mukbang's more important, so
that's true.
Gotta prioritize the right things.
What final do you have on Friday?
I have bio and orgo.
No, both of them.
Yeah.
Well,
And I started doing the orgo practice test today, and I do not.
kind of like a 40. Yeah.
I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it yet.
Yeah. No, that class is a lot of work. Yeah.
Okay, so coming to the end of college, do you have any goals you'd say that you still haven't finished that before this last week you want to get done?
I don't know. I think a few of my goals coming in was like contribute to a good amount of clubs, like a few clubs, but like so like most people in the club kind of know who you are. Yeah. And like of course like grades and everything, but I don't know. I think I've accomplished most of everything.
Accomplished most of it.
Yeah.
Any like weird goals that coming to college? You're like, oh, I'm gonna climb a building or like.
Yeah, I didn't do like that much crazy like frat stuff. You know, people will like get trash into frats or whatever. I guess I didn't go into college with super crazy mindset.
That's true. That's
just because like I feel like a lot of people go into college thinking it's just like a continuation of high school. And that's kind of thing. I kind of went in with that mentality too.
Okay. Wait, how far are you from Penn State? How far did you
I'm
go?
like 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But do you think, like, just having grown up in, like, Pennsylvania, that, like, Penn State was, like, a more obvious choice? Or not, like, maybe not obvious, but, like, it's like a safety, like, something you fall back on?
Yeah, so I think moving forward, I'd heard about, like, Penn State, like, some of my teachers or whatever would be from Penn State also. And so I never really saw myself going here. But after I got into whatever program, but it was a good option. And I think the financial aspect is also something that, like, you really don't consider in high school, but then, like, once you have to, like, commit to it, that's, like, one of the main decisions. So I had the option to kind of go different places around the U.S., but I think staying close to home is actually really important, and people don't realize that until you're out of school also. So,
and it's good, but, like, you're also, you said 3 hours, so, like, it's, like, close to home, but at the same time, it's, like,
they can't, like, come here in, like, 20 minutes.
Not, like, close. Like, I'm from Central Jersey, and I live probably walking distance a mile from, like, Rutgers, and, like, that was, like, close to home. Like, my older brother goes to Rutgers, and, like, if he was like, my grades are bad, my parents are like, you're living at home, like, you're not.
Yeah.
So I feel like going out of state for me, it kind of makes college seem a little less of, like, a continuation of high school, a little more like something new, like going on an adventure. I don't know.
I think because there's so many people that are from my high school, I think it's kind of like, oh yeah, like they did the same thing. We're kind of on the same path. I don't know how many kids from your high school came here, but
one kid the year above me. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, that'd feel kind of weird almost at this point, because it's like there's always someone on the street that I recognize or something.
Like I'm not trying to be, like, racist or anything, but, like, there's so many white people here that, like, sometimes I think people look like people I know, but, like, I'm like, no one I know goes here.
It's really funny that you say that, because I think, like, lots of people say, like, oh, all Asian people look the same, right? But my mom, who's actually Asian, says that it's, like, harder to differentiate, like, white people, which is really weird because, like, growing up around, I don't know, both of the demographics, it's, like, not necessarily that much harder either way, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah. And so I saw this guy, and I was like, I think I know this guy, right? But I was like, no, I can't be that guy. Like, he doesn't go here. And then so I just kind of looked at him for a while, and he just kind of looked at me for a while, and he was like, Josh? I was like, oh, okay, it is that kid. And then I said hi,
Confirmed.
But, like, besides for that, like, I don't know. When I came here, I knew no one, so that was it was, like, a pretty new experience.
Yeah, that'd kind of be intimidating, but at the same time, like, I didn't, like, room with anyone from my high school, so I think that's actually really, that definitely is, like, a piece of advice I'd want to, like, pass on. Like, don't necessarily stay with who you're comfortable with the entire time.
And I know, like, a lot of people, like, I hear a lot of, because, like, everyone from my high school went to Rutgers, so I think, like, 50% of our graduating class went there. Yeah. They say, like, in college, even if you were, like, best friends in high school, a lot of, like, friend groups, like, shift around.
Oh, yeah. There's no, like, I don't know, you never see, like, cool kids or anything. Like, everybody's just, like, so relative to each other. It doesn't, like, there's no stratified groups anymore, which is great. There's no, like, cool kids in, like, real society anyway, so celebrities kind of.
And, like, so coming into college, what clubs did you join? Do you have any, like, recommendations in terms of, like, clubs and things like that?
So I know there are a lot, especially here, like, philanthropic groups. We host, like, Dawn, which is, like, a really big philanthropic thing, but those are nice because they don't really, like, have any prerequisites. If you just, like, want to help people, that's totally fine. And there's, like, a really big array of people who like, join those groups. But they tend to be really big, and it's kind of, like, easy to get lost. So I think if you want to, like, really get invested in a club, like, don't pick, like, a super huge org, because I feel like you won't get to know everyone there. And so, and if you're into sports, like, obviously, you like, try to go for the club sport. So, yeah, so, like, we're obviously both in tennis. That's how I met Josh. But Yeah, I think bonding over like an activity that you kind of like already like is super easy because like we don't need to like talk. It's not like we don't talk during practice or anything, but like you don't even need to talk and you already have like that starting point for conversation.
And also like coming from out of state, back home, you know, like the people you can go to when you want to like talk to about stuff. Like I know the other day when we were at the creamery, we had that like racket conversation. And like here, like so many people like. It's nice to have. It's nice to have like people you know who you know can have that conversation with you, who are on like the same wavelength because like you both choose to be in like a certain club.
Yeah. Whereas like I said before, like philanthropic organizations, they're great and like I'm not saying their causes aren't just or anything, but it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, did you like learn how to like serve soup? You know, I know. I'm not saying anything bad, but like
they're good, but
yeah, it's just a little different. Yeah.
But when it comes to bonding, like sports, I find sports are like the number one thing, or like one of the top things. If you meet someone and you're like, yo, play sports. If you two play the same sport, like you can hit it off really well.
Well, especially like tennis is kind of niche.
It's kind of niche,
so it's nice. But no, I'm really glad. Club tennis, like when I first joined, I was like pretty quiet. And like I went just to play tennis because like I really like doing that and it's fine. But I think like the last couple of years, like the club has just grown a lot closer together and like we're doing stuff outside of just playing tennis, which is great. So I'm really liking like where we're taking the club.
And actually, the president, or he's not going to be the president by the time y'all come here, or if you're watching, if you're here,
former president.
He is the president. But President Marco, he's right there.
He's right there. I think just making it more welcome, like, I feel like I sensed a divide between, like, upperclassmen and lowerclassmen when I first came in, but there's, like, none of that anymore,
now,
I feel. Like, I don't even know who's in any grade, which is nice.
Like, especially, like,
don't put up the barrier just because you're, like, a senior or a cool guy. Like, I know in high school that's, like, worse. In college it's, like, a lot harder since, like, different people.
But I feel like as you get older, like, age gaps also feel smaller. Like freshman in high school and senior in high school feels a lot like bigger of a gap than like freshman in college, senior in college. I feel.
But it is weird, like being a senior and like seeing a few freshmen that I definitely are like they're still in middle school.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, like there's some that look young.
But there's also freshmen that are.
Yeah, I was like, well,
you're like these dudes are like 4. Like there was a guy in my my chem class. This dude looks like he was like a farmer for the past 30 years of his life, and then went back to school. He might have, I don't know, some people do that. But
it's also weird because you like don't think about grad school. Like going into college from high school, you forget that like there are also grad students working there, especially if it's like a research institution. So, like you could think someone's a freshman, but they're actually like a grad student, like 4th year or something. So that's also something to consider. Yeah.
So life after college, do you have any like specific plans or?
Yeah, so other than like I'm going to travel for a little bit afterwards, take a little break, but then starting in the middle of summer I'll be starting to work out in the Midwest doing some software stuff, so that's a little divergent from what I actually studied, but it's still kind of taking into account like my past experience and everything. So
how does it feel though, because I know like coming out of high school, you're like, we're all going to like college. There are the few people that are like, oh, we're going to the military or whatever. Or, like, we're gonna take a gap year. But like, I'd say 95% of the people are going to college. How does it feel to like have everyone like choosing a different path? Like,
so I have a group chat of like friends from high school, and we still like keep in touch for the most part. And like the longer and longer you go from graduation from high school. You kind of talk less and less, but like all the times you do talk, it's like about important stuff, right? And so I have like a friend who's in like Seattle now, another one's gonna be like in the Northeast, and then like I'm gonna be Midwest. So like we're really spread across, and even though we'll be able to like visit each other, it's like not being able to see them isn't like really like set in yet.
And like for me,
it's weird because you'll know people who are like working. I feel like that seemed really far away in high school, like people who are working, like even like substitute teachers or like your teachers. But then now I know people who are going to be like teachers in the future, right? So like seeing that they've like what they've done in college and like how they're actually like I can imagine like all my teachers in high school, they had all those experiences too.
It's kind of weird because teachers in high school, like, you don't even think of them as like social
As people.
Yeah,
No, as people.
As people. Yeah.
No, it's weird to say, but I had a few teachers in high school who commuted from Philly every day, and that would have been like about an hour commute. That's like, why would they live there? And so it's probably because they had lives. Yeah, right. And I actually wanted to spend time in the city, and so I kind of just like put that two and two together pretty recently. But
what type of advice do you have in terms of like getting to know professors here at college?
Yeah, it's hard, especially early on, because your classes are like 300 people, right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Going to like TA and office hours are actually a really good way, just because if teachers are inaccessible, right, or professors are inaccessible at the beginning, like try to get to know your TA or LA, because those are the people who are in your shoes like most recently and have like the most pertinent advice. Even though it might not be like all encompassing like wisdom or anything that you get. But I think if it's hard to get to know a professor, definitely talk to LAs or TAs. But if you really do want to get to know a professor, just like send them an email and like don't make too much of like a big deal out of it, because they get so many emails, and like if I was a professor and I got an email from like an interested undergraduate about anything, I'd be like, oh, this like he really wants to learn something. Like it depends on the professor; they might just like brush you off also, but I think like a good percentage of the time you'll get like a nice response saying like, yeah, I'll put you into contact with one of my grad students, or like I can sit down and meet with you for 30 minutes. So just like go out, reach out. If you have an actual like class with them, like after class, just go and be like, I'm really interested in what you're doing. Like, do you have any space in your lab or whatever to work in? Because I know we're both in the STEM field, so like we'd be working in labs and stuff. I was really thinking about going into academia, like 100%, because like I really liked research, and I thought that was like a cool path. But like seeing professors and like understanding them, it's like they differ across the board, but it's definitely a very particular lifestyle that I don't know I wanted to commit to yet. So I think like a couple years at least working in like the actual industry that I've never done before. Like I didn't have an internship in industry before, so I'm not really quite sure what to expect. But it's like a welcome change after doing so much academia.
Now, on a lighter note, what are some of your like favorite campus activities? Like not like clubs or anything like
other than tennis,
not like clubs. Like I'm talking about like maybe like blue and white, or like going to like a football game or something like that.
So after you're 21, you'll understand, but like the bar culture here is like really big. And I don't go out that often, but like lots of people do. And like getting to know your favorite bar and like having that group of people that you know from the bar, that's kind of cool. It's like clubs, but you also drink, right?
I know that's huge because like in the beginning of the year, I was like, I like doing like filmmaking, but I don't do any of it, right?
Yeah.
So I joined the Barstool BSU team, and like, because they need a dude who helps to make like original content, and whatever. Yeah. And even on that, Barstool might seem like disorganized. It is kind of disorganized. I don't know, but there's
organized
like
chaos, right?
Yeah, it's organized chaos. Like they'll be like, oh, like we should meet like on Friday at 3, right? But then we end up meeting at like 4:30 or something like that. In terms like that, or like, yo, like give this meeting by tomorrow, but the guy doesn't give it to you until like the day after. But everything is really structured. There's like a social team, content team, and like leaders in the team. Like there's a lot of like jobs that go in.
I am really impressed by like all the student orgs, I guess like anywhere, that seem so professional, because it is really hard keeping everyone in track. And like even if you're a small group, like even if one or two of those people is disorganized, they can like derail the entire thing. So like being able to really keep that under control is like kudos to them.
Did you know about like the Barstool Best Bar thing? Like there was a whole like
the Joe Jonas thing.
Yeah, that thing was like,
that was crazy.
Because I'm not 21, so I don't know about that culture. Yeah. But like just seeing how much people like love their bars and stuff, and like seeing how a dude who didn't even go here is like, oh, I love this bar, it's my favorite bar. I'm like, damn, bar culture here is probably like, it's probably pretty crazy.
Yeah. Other than that, football games, I'm actually not super into football. but lots of people here who aren't into football like really get into it. And that's like the same thing. Like, there's something to bond over, right? Mm-hmm. Even though you might not initially like football, it's like other people who are starting to understand football with you. Like, that's how you become friends or whatever. So
I'm not too into football either. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of like a lazy dude, so like,
yeah. If it's cold
like,
out,
like if it's cold out, there was one game I went for like 20 minutes. I was like, I have a ticket. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
And like, the fact you have to stand the whole game. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they don't tell you that part, but you do.
I was like, stand the entire time. Oh, I really want to just sit down sometimes.
Yeah,
right? Like, but like, I feel like it's like a big trend with Penn State. Like, before coming here, I didn't realize like Penn State is the second biggest stadium. It's like,
yeah,
and like, it's crazy for me to see like just how many famous people Penn State can like pull to come here. Like,
yeah,
like any dude you can imagine is not like out of the scope.
Yeah, that's really true. Other than that, like, I don't know, outside of clubs, it's a lot of like hanging with people that you've met throughout your classes. Like, just talking to those people is also really important. Like, I feel like a lot of people are super consumed in their clubs, but like getting to know a really wide variety of people is super important, because if like your club is having like a fallout or something, right? Like, you always have something to like fall back on. So I feel like I've done like a pretty good job of like not isolating different groups, but like having those different groups to kind of like, if like one's doing super well, like that's great, but if one's not doing super great, like you can kind of bounce back and forth. And so don't put all your eggs in one basket, I think is super important.
Now, do you have like a favorite like study spot on campus? Like,
so I know lots of people like the library, but I'm actually not a fan of studying in the library just because there's so much like volatility in like what's open. Like, it's super crowded a lot of the time, and I get to focus, like after I get into a focusing mood, I can like focus really well. And so I find like I can just study fine in my room, which is kind of like you know, kind of taboo thing to say, but BBH is super nice. It's like right by the hub, and the hub is nice too if you're like just want to do some small work, I think. But for group projects, there are some study commons in the library. I think they have like the new tech commons that are really nice. They have like a screen and everything. So like reserving a room in the library is different than actually just like going. So if you can do that, definitely do that. IST is super nice, and the Millennium Science Building is also
Huck
nice.
Life Science.
Oh yeah, Huck,
the one with the bridge.
Yeah,
that one's nice.
Yeah. I think if you have like a lot of readings and stuff, definitely there are way more options than if you need like a hardcore table doing like problem sets or something.